Welcome back. In this lesson, we're going to talk about calculating the loads for HVAC systems. If you remember from the previous lesson, we discussed how to define loads for specific spaces and zones, as well as what the internal and external loads are that you need to take into consideration when defining them. In this lesson, we're going to go a step further and calculate the total loads for your overall building. So let's get started. To begin calculating the load for your entire building, first, click on the Analyze tab at the top of the screen. Then, from under the Reports and Schedules panel, click on the icon labeled Heating and Cooling Loads. When you click on that button, you'll see a window pop up that says Heating and Cooling Loads. Included with it will be a small design of your overall plan, as well as a number of parameters and their values. First, look these over, and make sure that they don't need any corrections. If you do see any problems, be sure to correct them now. For instance, the entire building is labeled as an office. Now, if you remember in the last step, we labeled each zone as its own particular type. Now, though, we're going to be defining the entire building. So if you click where it says Office, you'll see a drop-down menu with many different types of buildings. For now, we're going to stick with Office, but remember that you can select any of them depending on your project. Next, we'll define our location by clicking the box next to Location. A menu will appear that will give you a number of different options to select the city where your project is going to be located. You can either enter the name of the city or search it from the search bar in the middle of the screen. This option doesn't require the internet. With an internet connection, you can use the Define Location By box, which will draw GPS data for your location. Next, you'll want to define the ground plane. This will be the ground floor of your building. For us, it'll be level 1, but just remember, all these parameters are going to be specific to your project. We can give you certain demonstrations and examples, but you have to be aware of what you and your clients need. So under project phase, you have to know whether it's existing construction or new construction. Perhaps the most important of these parameters that you need to define correctly is the building service type. This parameter will specify more specifically how your building is going to run your given HVAC system. You can choose either VAV, which stands for Variable Air Volume, in either single or dual duct. You can choose a fan coil system. Again, all of these are going to be specific to your project, and you should probably know what they are before you get started. The next parameter to set is building construction. This is going to establish all the different parameters for the individual elements of your building, like roofs, walls, ceilings, floors, internal and external windows if you have them. This will all be critical for your analysis and should be established before you begin designing your system. So make sure you go through all of these and ensure that they're entirely correct, because they will be essential for the next step, which will be determining the HVAC load for the entire building. So, we're going to do that now. Just click the Calculate button at the bottom of the window, and then wait a few seconds while Revit runs the load analysis. When it finishes running, you'll see a report appear on your screen with detailed technical data on the HVAC loads for the building in question. The data will be broken down by zones, by components, and it will contain a great deal more information than we can go over in this brief tutorial. But be aware that this exists, and this will be an extremely useful tool for working with your contractor or customer. So that's our brief tutorial on how to set up and run an HVAC load analysis in Revit MEP. Thanks for watching.